Welcome to the Breakthrough to Brilliance podcast, where we have inspiring and insightful conversations about breaking free from life's biggest challenges to find fulfillment and purpose. I am your host, Seema Giri, an international speaker, best-selling and award-winning author, book writing mentor, and publisher. I bring you real-life stories of healing and transformational journeys so that you know that you can create life on your own terms. Our heart centered guests are the everyday heroes that you find in your backyard, from mothers to sisters to friends to entrepreneurs and authors. Join us to hear their positive and powerful stories so you too can learn to live with purpose and joy. Welcome back to another amazing episode. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and Happy New Year. This is the first week of the new year, first week of January, and I am just feeling so excited. There's so much possibilities. I think as soon as the calendar year changes, as soon as it becomes January, we forget about what kind of year we had in the past, and there's just it just feels like magic. Like there's endless possibilities, and there's so much that can happen to us, and that's why I say we should harness the new year energy. Be talking to you about different ways that you can harness the new year energy to really set yourself up for success for the entire year. Yes, I believe you can do it for the entire year. This is a time of the year the entire world is filled with hope, positivity, and oriented. People are doing things, they're full of compassion, joy, and happiness. And I can really feel this internally and in my bones. And I think many people are feeling the same way. It's just like a renewed sense of possibility. So let's use this energy of the collective consciousness. By that, what I mean is simply put, the collective energy, all of us embrace the power of you. You are the creator of your life. So you get to choose to live by your desire. Let's focus on execution and get things done the way you want to have it done. In today's session, we're going to talk about time. And when we talk about time, let's go back to 2022 and do a little bit of some people do it towards the end of the year, end of the previous year, or some people do it in the beginning of this year. If you're like me, I do a little bit of both, and I do it in the beginning of the first week is because my energy is different, my insight and feelings are different. So when I look back at 2022, I'm going to be looking from a different perspective. So that's why I encourage you to go back and look at it from a different energy. So when you're doing the reflections, leverage last year's achievements and momentum. And when we used to, so I've adapted a format that we used to use in my project management company when we were leading our teams. It's a Scrum Master running stand up meetings. Everyone would stand up and share three things. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And are there any impediments in your way of progress? That when you're reflecting for 2022, look at what worked well and why did it work well, what didn't work well and why it didn't work well, what were the impediments that got in the way of the progress, what were the impediments that got in the way of your goals. Now, keep in mind, I mentioned this in the podcast that I did in the last week of December. Many times we just go to ourselves and say, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't organized enough. I wasn't dedicated enough. I wasn't consistent enough. Whatever it may be, we bring it down to ourselves. But I encourage you to first look outside of yourself and see what could have been the possibilities. We're always evolving, and our businesses are also evolving. So perhaps your vision changed halfway down the year or towards the end, and those goals were no longer relevant or it didn't make sense. Decided we're continuously doing course correction. So perhaps you decided that, maybe you did not want to launch the two new products and you're just going to focus on the one that is generating you the most amount of revenue and focus and go deeper in there. So therefore, some of your goals didn't make sense. After factors, then go within and see, okay, what could have you done? What were the factors that involved you? So don't go down the road of beating yourself up right away. Once you have done that, for 2023, as you're planning, be very intentional, particularly around your time. Be very intentional. I think time is one thing that we are very generous with, and sometimes we don't even realize we're not utilizing our time effectively. So be protect time like your life depends on it. Because you know why? It does. Time is one thing in life that you will never ever get back once you spend it. You can get back most everything else, but not time. So, like your money, spend time wisely and do the time leak exercise. One by one, look at all the areas of your life and see where are your time leaks. Where are you wasting your time? Where are you not being effective and efficient? Where is it that you're spending time in it? Or you're not feeling relaxed? Do you feel drained after a certain activity or being with certain people? Have a look at those things and make the changes in those areas. Do things that really bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that you're able to relax, and make sure you're building in time for rest. That is very important. So reclaim your power by choosing to participate in things that brings you joy. I also want you to look at, if you weren't able to achieve certain things, do you have the busyness syndrome? And what I mean by that is that we do all the things that look really good and that could be important, and we're not really getting anywhere. So, too many entrepreneurs confuse motion with momentum and results. And here's in the day of an entrepreneur's life what busyness looks like. You have back to back meetings, perhaps some networking meetings, perhaps you're connecting with other people in your industry or clients or prospecting, but it's really not getting you results. You're not getting anywhere. The right follow up systems after that, and you're not having any concrete results out of those meetings. Perhaps you're looking at the website that you need to build, researching more before you actually start executing and perfecting your presentation or your speech before you're even going out and implementing. These are all important things, but you need to set a deadline for completing things and not having that perfection syndrome either, where everything has to be perfect before you go. The only way things become perfect is when you take things as they are and you go out, you deliver, you practice, you see the response, you see the reactions, and then you come back and you make those improvements. So make sure when you're scheduling and you're scheduling your task, you're scheduling your meetings, ask yourself, what is it that I want to get out of this meeting? What is it that I want to get out of networking? Success is defined by you. You want to have some, whether it's building deeper relationship, whether it's learning a certain skill, whether it's anything that you feel is going to help you propel you move forward in business and in life. You really need to have clarity on what your purpose is, what your mission is, what is your purpose, what is your mission and vision, how does that fit into your overall thing. Once you have that clarity within yourself, with yourself, then you're able to communicate that with clients, with your team members, and anyone else that is a critical part of your business. When how we do one thing is how we do everything. So when we're clear in one area of our life, we become clear in all areas of our life, because then we need to build our life in that way so we're getting the results that we want. Once you're able to have that communication, people are going to know exactly what to do to support you to help your vision come through. And you want to make sure that you're measuring results, not the work. Build your business plan and your day to day activities in a way that you can see what results you are getting. What is your progress? And again, you get to define that. Create your key indicators of what the progress would be like. And then again, if you have team, they are able to understand that even better. Teach the leadership in a project management workshop. I always talk about Pareto's law. Pareto was an Italian, or he lived in Italy, to see what percentage of the people held the wealth of the country. So he did this experiment and he discovered that 20% of the people held 80% of the wealth in the country. And then he started applying this law in various different areas of life. And it comes down to that when you focus on 20% of the activities, so when we break it down into business, if you focus on 20% of the activities, you get 80% of the results. So you get to those activities are and focus on those. This way, you're not running around like a chicken without a head, that I used to do when I started my business. You get to focus on those key activities that's going to be 80% of the result of what you want. So now you can take a deep breath here and relax. Now that you have all of this data with you, you can now start calendaring. And I suggest you calendar this week or this month, your year. Yes, for your entire year. It's possible. So here's how you do it. You take all of the major holidays that you in your respective countries have off, where everyone is shut down no matter what industry you're in. Mark that off in your calendar. Right. Maybe there's certain things that you observe, some certain things you don't. And also, it's also going to be helpful for you if you have any special offers or special sales. You want to block off that time period of what you need to do for that particular holiday to get the benefit of that to your clients. Next, you want to see what are the important dates in your life? What are the special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, friends, families, your relatives, whoever's important to you? What are the special occasions that is mark that off as well? No more of those feeling guilty that you were not able to participate in your loved one's special occasion because you were working. You're taking care of that now by marking it off first. Next would be other life events that you have been invited to. Mark that in your calendar as well. So now you have most of the important things in life that you don't want to miss out on taking care of. Next, you want to see what are the events that you're having in your business. Are you having virtual events, live events? Mark that off. And as you're marking those dates of actual event time and the event preparation time, I want you to add a day before the event where you're getting yourself ready to be vibrant with health and vitality for that time period. Because you want to show up powerfully. You don't want to show up tired and exhausted and that it shows on your face. So make sure you take one day before the event, 1 to 2 days after the event. So your pre-event and post-event days that you're taking for self-care for yourself. And how much time you take off after the event would depend on how big the event is. Now, before you mark off the date of self-care activities, I want you to also mark right after the event, a day or two, depending on how big your event is, for networking, for follow-ups, for talking to people who are interested of your services. Too often we don't, it doesn't happen. And you can let people know I've set up some time on my calendar to speak with you if you're so interested. And let people know, and people will start filling up your calendar. So how many days you set aside for the follow-up would depend on how big your event is. So have all of these things pre-marked so they're not messed. They're very, very important. Now you have the rest of the calendar to plan out your daily, weekly, monthly activities to run your business and to run your life. While you're scheduling your day-to-day and monthly, weekly activities, keep in mind to create some space in your day, in your week, and in your month. What I mean by that is have some space where you're able to breathe and think. Sometimes our activities we think might take 1 hour, 2 hour, will take longer. And that is dependent on the kind of day you're having, how your energy is spent, how servicing other people. So many things that can happen. So have some space where you're creating. Creativity takes some time. You need inspiration, and you need that space just to think and just to be, so then you can create the wonderful goodness that you create with the talents that you have. Also, when you have some space in the day, don't have that anxiety that you have so much to do, they're back to back, and you don't have a breathing space. Sometimes you just need to take time of 5 to 10 minutes to breathe. Sometimes your meetings run longer. These are just to take care of any eventualities that can happen in life, getting things done. What happens, we feel so rushed, is because we're planning things back to back with no breathing space. Which reminds me, you also want to add your breaks in the day, your lunch break, and have a hard cutoff time of when you will stop working. For women, I also suggest that you also plan the month around your cycle. So when you know that time, your energy is very different. So you want to maximize on when you are very comfortable and alert and energized. And so have those kind of meetings set up or activities set up where you are client facing with the people, and the time that when your cycle starts, you can schedule more of things that requires you to go inward to produce things. So you could be creativity, it could be follow-ups, it could be writing. There's so many different aspects of business that you need to do just by yourself. So during that time you can set your activities up and then see where do you need to level up. We really need to be, if you really want to get the results this year, and if you want to focus on execution and you want to go to the next level, you're going to have to be really honest with yourself, because without that we can't do anything. And it's not to be hard on yourself, it's coming from a place of compassion, being honest and saying, what are the areas that I really need to upgrade in so that I can be the person that I want. And unless we look at it from this passion and take small incremental steps, baby steps, to move the needle. So you want to look at those things and really be honest with yourself. Where is it that you need to do? What is getting in the way? Get the right kind of support with the people who are with the same mindset as you. So then you're feeling good about it. The number one thing, regardless of what you're implementing and what you're doing and how you're doing it, the number one thing that you really need to focus on is to be 100% committed. We don't get the results of what we want, of what we are committed to. I want you to be 100% committed to yourself, because if you're not, who else is going to do it? You're this amazing person with the amazing gift that you're here to share with the world. It's your responsibility. Take care of yourself so you can be there for everyone else. I would love to hear from you. What was your key takeaway from this session today, from this podcast today? And I would like to know, what are your ways of making sure that you stay committed to your goals this year and to yourself? Until next time, this is Seema. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I know I did. Through this transformational journey, I hope you could see yourself taking similar steps, breaking free to your brilliance, and creating the life that you desire.